And depending on the itinerary, whether it's a 7-day trip or a 14-day trip, it can get quite expensive. And that's where Uplift comes in. We break down the upfront costs into monthly payments. We take that biggest barrier to entry for many people in their trip planning journey, that is the cost, out of the trip planning process. And so you can really take the trip you want, take your kids to explore the world, create a life experience that together with your family.
Welcome to Business Ninjas, brought to you by WriteForMe, where you'll hear from business leaders who are out there growing their business and slaying it every day. Learn from the masters. Let's get started.
Stephanie, thank you for joining us today on Business Ninjas. We appreciate you stopping by. Thank you.
Happy to be here.
Great. Let's knock through all the basics first. So go ahead and tell everybody, obviously, your name, your role in the company, the name of the company, the website.
My name is Stephanie Yu. I'm very excited to be here. I'm the Director of Product at Uplift. Uplift is a buy now, pay later provider for specialized in travel industry.
Great. All right. And where's the company based?
Our company is largely based off the Bay Area, but as you know, everyone is in a remote working environment. So we do have, folks scattered around the country, and we also have a good cluster in the Toronto area.
Oh, wow. Okay, nice. And maybe you can tell us a little bit about your career arc that brought you to the present opportunity.
Yeah, for sure. So I started out actually as a data analyst working at a data consortium ran by Moody's Analytics, the rating company, and for the benefit of the largest commercial banks in the US. So my background is deeply rooted in finance and data, and transitioned to become a product manager to digitize data collection and portfolio review for bank credit officers and portfolio managers. Thinking back, this is kind of your typical rite of passage as a product manager, where you spend a lot of time speaking with an actual user who has an actual user need. In my case, was the bank credit officers and portfolio managers, and then spent 2 years building a data strategy as well as the data platform for expanding the commercial real estate data product offerings at Moody's. And because of these experience, I'm a big believer of the transformational power a fintech company and fintech products can bring to our lives. And now I'm at Uplift trying to make better financial products for travel experience.
Gotcha. Okay, that's a great base to have for doing what you're doing now. That's awesome. And you touched briefly on the elevator pitch, so maybe just flesh that out a little bit. The offering is what, and for what types of folks?
Yeah, for sure. So Uplift works with travel merchants to provide the travelers a flexible and personalized payment plan. And let me just give you an example of how it looks like. As a traveler, you might be looking to take your family on a once-in-a-lifetime trip to Alaska, let's say, and it could be for any occasions, celebrating your kids' college graduation, celebrating anniversary with your significant other. You'll go on to our cruise partner website and look for the itinerary that works for you. And depending on the itinerary, whether it's a 7-day trip or a 14-day trip, it can get quite expensive. And that's where Uplift comes in. We break down the upfront costs into monthly payments. We take that biggest barrier to entry for many people in their trip planning journey, that is the cost, out of the trip planning process. And so you can really take the trip you want, take your kids to explore the world, create a life experience that together with your family. We want to give people a way to have these wonderful life experiences.
Wow. Okay, that's fantastic. And inside of that, maybe there's a specialization in the mode of travel or a geographic region or something like that. So do you see more uptake on maybe it's package deals like you're talking about, or flights or hotel stays, or what's the composition like?
Yeah, great question. As you can already imagine, the biggest trip expense for any trip experience is really the flights, the hotel, and then that packaged deal for cruise line company. Cruise trips is the perfect example where you pay for the entire cruise spend. That's going to be the biggest spend for your trip. We specialize in these big, hefty trip expenses. We have good partnerships with cruise line companies, the biggest ones in the world, as well as all the airlines in United States and Canada.
Great. Okay. And how did the company start? What's the progression been? A lot of companies launch with an initial vision, and then as they scale, they start to add additional functionality. So what's that journey been like?
Yeah, so the founders actually had, a past experience, entrepreneurial experience together. So Uplift is actually their second entrepreneurship together. So back in the day, they're very rooted in travel. They are the one actually started the first company together called Sidestep, which actually invented the meta search for travel. And with Uplift, the vision, our long-term objective is really to provide awesome and popular financial products for the experiences that matter the most to people.
Okay, interesting. And how long has the company been going at it?
Yeah, I think the company really started in 2014 and found the product market fit around 2016, 2017. That's the early days where buy now, pay later has started to look like a Kickstarter for the economy.
Yeah, definitely. Okay. And how do you separate yourselves out from the competition?
Yeah, I think our competitive advantage is really our deep root in travel because of our direct integration with travel merchants. We have become the go-to buy now, pay later provider for travel brands. And just to give you an idea, today we have 160 travel brands that's onboarded with Uplift. And then with the travelers, we provide, a personalized and flexible payment options for the travelers. And that is creating that flywheel where, more travelers are enjoying the benefit of Uplift, and that brings up the conversion rate for our travel merchants, the average order value for our merchants, and it becomes a more and more sticky solution for travelers. And we're seeing more and more repeat travelers coming back, choosing to pay with Uplift for their trip experiences.
That's great. Wow. And so if the company had kind of hit, an operating steady state, and then here comes COVID a couple of years ago, right? And so I'm sure, there was a lot of learning that you went through in that stage. Obviously, the travel industry was hit pretty hard. What was the experience like helping not only the consumer side, but the travel partner side to navigate through that time?
Absolutely. COVID is not only a huge deal in our lifetime, it's also a huge thing for not just Uplift and really the entire travel industry. Uplift, like many travel brands, really trying to work with consumers to help them with, the canceled trip, getting the refunds, the credits for the trips that they're not going to be able to take because of COVID. And coming out of the pandemic, really, we're trying to also keep up with that pent-up demand for travel.
Right.
Seeing record, transaction volume after records coming out of this pandemic. And I think back in the summer 2022, people are worried about, is this a revenge travel that's going to taper off by the end of last year? And that's really has not been the case. We've been seeing really this inelastic travel demand from all over the world. And that has been really good for the business.
That's great. Wow. I'm glad to hear that's the case. And when you think through, so you're essentially a two-sided marketplace, right? And so I'm wondering on both sides, what's kind of the ideal customer look like for you on the consumer side and on the travel partner side? Is there like a sweet spot for the company that you see, better uptake with?
Yeah, very good question. if we think about leisure travel, this is where BNPL shines on. As opposed to something like a business travel, you might not want to actually take out each transaction for each leg of your trip, and then at the end of the day having to do the invoicing. For the leisure travel specifically, the biggest, our ideal customer profile is really the folks that are, a family of 4 trying to take on a big trip for the family. The expense adds up. That's where the pay monthly product, the Uplift product, comes in.
Okay, interesting. All right. And what is the company doing on, so there's this big demand coming in, this tidal wave of demand that's been pent up. How are you letting people know that you exist, and what social media channels are you active on where people can learn more? I mean, obviously they can go to the website, that's great, but a lot of people are active on other social media channels as well. So where can they find you there?
Yeah, we are big on Instagram, and obviously, like you said, you can find us on uplift.com, our home website, and can discover all our travel brands that we're integrated with over there as well.
Great. All right. Well, Stephanie, thanks so much for getting us up to speed on what the company's been up to. It sounds like you're going to have a real strong rest of 2023. So we're going to enjoy watching you, take the company to new heights as the year goes on. So thanks for stopping by.
Thank you. Pleasure to be here.
Right on.